Assessment cycle measure.
Assessing student learning is the second phase of our assessment cycle. We develop methods to assess whether our students are learning the material, select appropriate assessment measures, and assess the learning outcomes. There are multiple ways of assessing the learning outcomes, and they are usually selected and used. Although the direct and indirect measure of learning can be used, it is usually recommended to focus on direct measures of learning. Level of students' performance for each outcome is often described and assessed with the use of rubrics. So, unsa day na ang direct o indirect measures? When we say direct measures of students' learning include students' product or performances that demonstrate the specific learning that has been taking place. While on the other hand, indirect measures may imply that learning has taken place, like students' perception of learning, but do not specifically demonstrate the learning or skill. So examples sa direct measures are the standardized exams, locally developed exams, oral exams, minute paper, simulation, project evaluation, and etc. While indirect measures, these are the written surveys and questionnaires like the student's perception, alumni perception, employer perception of program, exit and other interviews, focus group, and student records. Assessment cycle reflect. Reflecting is the third phase of our assessment cycle. We look back on whether our teaching strategies were successful and what changes we can make to improve the students' learning. So, what does the assessment data mean? The assessment results need to be analyzed to learn whether or not the criteria on the student learning outcomes were met. To give meaning to the information that has been collected, it needs to be analyzed for context, understanding, and to draw conclusions. These steps gives the information meaning, and that is why it is essential to effectively communicate and utilize the assessment result. And how is assessment data analyzed? Analyzing data includes determining how organize, synthesize, interrelate, compare, and present the assessment result. These decisions are guided by what assessment questions are asked, the type of data that are available, as well as the needs and wants of the audience. Since information may be able to be interpreted in various ways, it may be insightful to involve others in reviewing the results. Discussing the data in groups will result in greater understanding, often through different perspectives. What can data be compared to? Data can be compared to findings from previous assessment, baseline data, existing criteria, and etc.
Okay, thank you for that, Teacher Sharon. So, nakuha na ba sa tanan? Very good. So, let us now proceed to our fourth and last phase of our assessment cycle. It is the plan and improve. So, what does it mean, man? So, it means kay naka-reflect naman ta, we must have to improve our instructions. So, we refine our instructional strategies and techniques. Kay naka-reflect naman ta asa tanagkuwang or unsa pay atong need improve sa atong mga instructional strategies diri na nato lihokon in order to help our students achieve mastery of the course outcomes. Okay? So nakuha ra ba sa tanan? Alright, to sum up all the topics which my fellow teacher students has tackled, which is all about the assessment. So as what teacher Zane has tackled or discussed, is anyone remembers what is assessment? Okay, you can type it in our chat box. Alright, so based on the previous discussion, it mentioned that assessment includes or involves the use of empirical data on students' learning to refine programs and improve student learning. Yet, it is concluded that learning-related events in class, class are all teacher influence. Therefore, in making an assessment, teachers must have or possess the criteria of God assessment. So what are these? Okay, you can type it in our chat box. Okay, well done. I bet everyone does remembers. There are 6. Okay, so first is the validity or the coherence. A second is the reproducibility or the consistency. Third is the equivalence. And fourth is the feasibility. And then educational effect. And lastly is the catalytic effect. Well done. So in assessing, it cannot be done without this cycle. In the first phase, we have, yes, it's teach or teaching. Then after teaching, we must have to measure kung unsa may i-measure nato. So it is the students learning, and the third is after nato ma-measure ang student learning, kay need nato i-reflect kung nahaong ba ang atong teaching strategies. And lastly, syempre, ang pagplan or ang pagpa-improve sa atong mga strategies. And we must have to utilize and improve our instructional strategies and techniques able to help all our students achieve more. Kanang dira lang kutob ang ilang ma-achieve. Kung dili, mas higher pa sa atong mga gipang teach. Okay, so that's all for our discussion about assessment. And I bet you are now ready to assess your future learners. And good luck, padayon future educators. Now, I will give the floor to Teacher Drew for your activities. God bless everyone and thank you.